Rock and roll rules, dude. How's it going, everyone? Welcome to Rock and Roll Tales from the Lady in Black. I'm your host, Lana Termine. I started this YouTube channel as a platform to promote the music I love, more specifically, rock and roll music. I'm not just talking about the greatest hits of AC/DC and Bon Jovi. I'm talking about Def Leppard deep cuts, Richie Samboro's solo albums, and newer rock bands like Gravel Sons and Blackstone Cherry. That sounds like something you're interested in? Feel free to give this video a like and smash that subscribe button for more content like this. With all that said, let's get on with the music. So, it finally happened, people. I saw Def Leppard live for the first time on Tuesday, February 24th at their Las Vegas residency at the Colosseum and Caesars Palace. Well, more specifically, I saw them on the last 3 dates of their February 26th Las Vegas residency. More specifically, Tuesday, February 24th, Thursday, February 26th, and Saturday, February 28th. The first night I did general admission, the second night I was in section 104, and the third night I was in section 203. To back up a bit, this was Def Leppard's third Las Vegas residency. The first Las Vegas residency was in 2013 at the Hard Rock Hotel, which is now the Virgin Hotels, where they opened for themselves as Def Leppard, playing deep cuts that the casual fans don't really care about, and they played the entire Hysteria album front to back. The second Las Vegas residency was in 2019 at the Planet Hollywood, where they changed up the songs every night, sort of, and they did an acoustic set every night, which was a nice touch. I had a lot of high hopes for this third Las Vegas residency. In fact, I waited 7 years to see the band live because I was really anticipating when this next Las Vegas residency was. The good thing about Las Vegas residencies is that the band doesn't have to take apart the stage every night, which means they have the flexibility to change up the set list every night and play deep cuts that us hardcore fans dream about in their sleep. In fact, when this third Las Vegas residency was first announced, in late July 2025, Joe Elliott and Phil Collins said they were going to change up the set list every night. That's why I bought tickets for 3 nights. Unfortunately, long after I bought the tickets, in mid-November 2025, Joe Elliott said they were putting together one show that's going to be different from what they were doing before since they came back from COVID, striking a fine line between the hits and the deep cuts. Yeah, right. When I saw the set list for the February 3rd show, I was very underwhelmed by the set list. And I'll include a screenshot of the set list in this video. So, the set list that they played on all 3 nights, oh yeah, by the way, they played the set list throughout the entire residency. The set list includes Rejoice, Animal, Let's Get Rocked, Personal Jesus, which is a Depeche Mode cover, Bring It On Heartbreak, Switch It to 5, Just Like 73, Rocket, Rock On, which is a David Essex cover, or however the hell you pronounce his name, White Lightning, Foolin', Slang, Promises, Armageddon It, Love Bites, Rock of Ages, Photograph, Hysteria, and Pour Some Sugar on Me. Based on what I saw from that set list, the only real highlight from that set list was White Lightning, which is a tribute to the late guitarist Steve Clark. And personally, it's one of the best songs they've ever written. Most beautiful song they've ever written. And they included 2 covers, which I don't know why, especially since they only did 19 songs. And there's only so much precious space on the set list. I don't know why they wasted it on covers. Although I will say that Rock On, I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought it would. So there's that. However, the rest of the set list was filled with the same nonsense they've been playing for 3 decades, such as Animal, Rocket, Rock of Ages, Bring On Heartbreak, and Let's Get Rocked. Let's Get Rocked. I just want to add that Def Leppard did include 2 brand new songs in the set list, which is good for them because I'm glad they're promoting new music. Rejoice was the show opener, and it's definitely heavy in spots. I think that's because it combines elements from the slang era and the self-titled 2015 era. I love the visuals they did for that song, with the triangle and outer space theme. Really cool. And the chorus is still stuck in my head as I'm saying this. Just like 73 is more fun and upbeat, it's basically a glam rock stadium anthem. Actually, the band has been playing that song on the stadium tours they've been doing the past couple of years. By the way, Joe sounded great on both of those songs. Both of those songs are really fun and really catchy. Also, on my personal blog, I did a more in-depth and organized version of this review, so if you want to check that out, I'll leave a link to that blog post in the description of this video. Again, if you want a more organized and less chaotic version of this review, I'll leave a link to that blog post in the description of this video. I had high hopes that they would change up the set list for the February 1st show, but nothing. When the band kicked off week 2 of their Las Vegas residency, however, I got the message that Def Leppard were sticking to that boring set list they blessed us with. For a bit, I was in denial. In fact, I commented on the band's Instagram a few times asking them to change up the set list. Which, yeah, that didn't happen. My parents did ask if I wanted to sell my tickets. Well, a few of them at least. But I made a commitment to seeing Def Leppard live 3 times, so I was sticking to my commitment. On the plus side, because each night was different seats, it was actually a different experience every time because I saw new things that I overlooked previously. So the February 24th show, of course, being that close to the band, it's gonna be like, holy cow, what am I witnessing here, people? Like, they were so close. It was like they were like 5 feet away from me. I can't do math. Let's just say that they were really close to me. In fact, I've seen clips of this band for years. I've seen clips of Def Leppard for years on YouTube and Blur concert releases. So just seeing them pop up from the risers for Rejoice, the opening song, it was like witnessing the presence of rock and roll aliens from another planet. It was totally unreal. In fact, bassist Rick Savage's bass pedals were like to the right of me. Right, wherever the hell it is. Well, some of them at least. Some of his pedals were to the right of me. And speaking of Rick Savage, I gained a new appreciation for him that night. I mean, I always thought he was a cool dude, but man, he really can play the bass. And that was great. What was great about Rock On was that he got a bass solo. And he really likes Rock On, so you can really tell. But even for Personal Jesus, his thumping bass line is the driving force behind that song. And as part of the changes that they made for this Las Vegas residency, they brought back the bass intro for Hysteria, which they haven't done since 1993 on the Adrenalize tour. So for a minute, it felt like I was transported back to the early 90s, which was pretty sick. And though I was disappointed that the set list was very predictable and not great, it was crap actually. That night, I let it sink in that you can't please everyone, and we all have our ideas, different opinions on what a dream Def Leppard set list is. So once I let that sink in, I left that show feeling excited to see the same set list for the next 2 nights. In fact, it was a combination between the hook-driven rock anthems, the band smiling throughout the night, the crowd interaction, and the stunning visuals. It was a combination of all those things that made Def Leppard the most fun band I've ever seen live. It was literally one of the best nights of my life. In fact, general admission was so much fun, I low-key regretted not buying general admission for the February 26th show. But thankfully, the February 26th show was pretty awesome too. We were section 104 for that night, me and my mom. So actually, I should say, me and my dad did February 24 and February 28, while my mom and I did February 26. So going back to February 26, we were close enough to the band, but we were also far enough to see the visuals from a really good view, which was really nice, especially since we got to see the leopard that pops out during the bridge of Animal. I mean, it comes out of nowhere. You see the screens show the band, showing images of the band performing, and then all of a sudden the blocks drop, and then boom! This giant leopard appears out of nowhere. It was like mind-blowing. That was one of my favorites. Another one of my favorite visuals from that night was the giant leopard that appears at the start of Armageddon Night. You know, where Vivian's doing that da 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 da. At the start, there's this giant leopard really angry leopard, by the way. He walks towards the audience like he's about to bite the audience, and he narrowly misses them. And that was pretty sick, I must admit. I watched a video of the February 3rd show, the first night of the band's Las Vegas residency, and I'll admit, it was sick. I loved that one. It was a lot of fun. And for the hardcore Def Leppard fans, at the beginning of Rock of Ages, on the screen, there's a barn owl, that says, and that's a tribute to the Rock of Ages music video, where at the start of the video, an owl shows up on the screen, and then it cuts to Joe Elliott singing, "Alright, I got something to say, da, 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 da." I'm not sure how true this is, but somebody on YouTube commented this. The reason why there's a barn owl at the beginning of the Rock of Ages music video is because the director thought that Joe Elliott was singing owl right, as in owl, instead of alright. It is. That's pretty funny. And really clever, too. Unfortunately, not all the visuals worked for me. More specifically, Photograph. I was not a fan of the videos that showed up on the screen. So usually for Photograph, the band tries to up their game every time. Before, it was, those photo strips, those old school photo strips that you see at like photo booths, stuff like that. Then they did like regular photographs that would pop up here and there. In fact, they showed that on their 2019 Las Vegas residency. And then in recent years, like 2024, 2025, they did these old school photos that you hang up on a line. That's probably my favorite out of all the visuals for Photograph they've done so far, to be honest. But this time, for the 2026 Las Vegas residency, the band decided to include videos, which I'm not a fan of, to be honest, because it's distracting enough just to look at photos of the band, but the videos are just another reason not to pay attention to the band. I mean, I'm not a fan of a lot of screens anyways, but stuff like that, like there's so many things to look at, you're not even looking at the band. I don't like that at all. Especially, the song is called Photograph. It's not like Joe Elliott is singing, "Oh God, is a video." It just doesn't make sense. Oh, and by the way, the AI movement tricks that they did for some of the old photos with Steve Clark and Pete was, especially the photo with when the guys are wearing those Union Jack outfits. You know, when the photos move and stuff. Yeah, that AI stuff is garbage. Other than that, I was fine with most of the visuals, and the sound was great. The band sounded great. Although all three shows, for some reason, some of the songs sounded like they were done in the original keys. For example, White Lightnings on that particular February 26th show, it sounded like it was done in the original key. I don't know why. And Hysteria and Slang sounded like they were performed in the original key on the February 24th show. I know that can't be true because Joe Elliott's vocals, he can't hit those high notes anymore. But the sound system was just messing with me, and wow, how rude. That's what it sounded like to me, but still, the band was amazing. Like, all 3 nights, the band was amazing. And by the time it got to the February 28th show, it was a really weird moment for me because, of course, I was really happy to see them one more time, but at the same time, I was really sad because I'm not entirely sure when's the next time I'll be able to see Def Leppard live, because I'm not a stadium tour person. I prefer being up close to the band for that intimate connection. That's why I do a lot of general admission shows, especially for the smaller bands because they're cheaper. And also, I mentally cannot handle large crowds. So, when it got to the February 28th show, I just screamed the loudest as I possibly could, and it was freaking awesome. And I just treasured every moment that happened at the February 28th show. It was the last time I'll ever get to hear White Lightning, the last time I'll be able to see Rick Allen's drum solo during Switch Hits 2.5, and the last time I'll be able to cheer on Phil Collins during his Rock of Ages solo. You know, the part where you go, yeah, let's go, Phil! Who knows when I'm gonna do that again. So, I tossed my pride out the door. In fact, I tossed my pride out a long time ago, especially when I started howling like a wolf during Rick Savage's bass solo before Rock On. So I'm terribly sorry, Sav. I'm really sorry. But at the same time, I'm not. February 28th show was a lot of fun. I didn't get a lot of photos for that one because we were further back, but I was so thankful that I was able to see Def Leppard live 3 times, because this was the band that they'll forever be associated with my first 3 years of college. We've been through ups and downs, and in fact, if it weren't for Def Leppard, I don't know, I would probably be in a way terrible mental state than I am right now. That's how much Def Leppard means to me. So, of course, I definitely want to see Def Leppard live again. It's just a matter of when. Definitely, if they do another Las Vegas residency, that's probably when I'll see them again. Or if they just do a smaller venue, because again, intimate connection, no stadiums. I'm sorry, I can't handle them. And next time, if Def Leppard, if you ever do need help coming up with a set list that for sure creates a fine line between the hits and the deep cuts, let me know. Because, let me tell you something. Bring On a Heartbreak. Never need to hear that song again. Same thing with Rocket. Never need to hear that song again. In fact, why don't you just toss Hysteria aside and never bring it back, please? Okay, realistically, I know they can't toss aside Hysteria. That'll never happen. But I do think that if they do keep stuff like Animal and Let's Get Rocked and Photograph, Rock of Ages, and of course Hysteria, the title track, I would love for them to bring back deep cuts or play deep cuts like Hallucinate and You Got Me Running, Desert Song, Fragile Love, Stand Up, Kick Love into Motion. My god, that's one of the best songs on Adrenalize ever. When are they gonna play that live? Are they waiting for like the 40th anniversary of Adrenalize? Come on. And Wings of an Angel, which by the way, Vivian wrote that one. And it's really good. Really dang good. Which goes to show why Def Leppard should let Vivian Campbell write more songs for them. I mean, this dude was in Dio and Whitesnake, for goodness sakes. So obviously he's capable of writing great rock songs. Just saying. It's a shame that Def Leppard didn't play Saturday Night High and Dry on his residency at all, because they were doing Saturday nights. It was the perfect opportunity. They missed the perfect opportunity to do da 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 da. They missed the perfect opportunity, and that still irritates me. So yeah, of course, I would definitely see Def Leppard again. The visuals were stunning. The crowd really got into it, and honestly, so did I. I've never screamed so loud at a show in my entire life. The band was smiling, having a great time. Like, they genuinely love what they do, and props to them, man. Props to them, because they deserve it after all the crap they went through with Rick Allen's car accident, losing Pete Willis, or firing Pete Willis, and Steve Clark passing away, and even Vivian Campbell, his cancer diagnosis. They deserve to have fun once in a while. And I'm glad they still can have fun on stage, because obviously the crowds love them. I just wish that, or at least next time they do a Las Vegas residency, change it up more. It seems like with this residency, they focused more on creating one particular show with groundbreaking stage production, making it impossible to change up the set list every night. But they took more risks on the 2019 residency, which is saying a lot, because Planet Hollywood is a lot bigger than the Colosseum at Caesar's Palace. And yet, setlist crap. But on the plus side, I did get to hear White Lightning live 3 times. So, I'll take everyone that I can get. If you guys saw Def Leppard's 2026 Las Vegas residency, let me know in the comments what you thought of that. Feel free to give this video a like, and smash that subscribe button for more content like this. With all that said, take care, see you real soon, peace.